Hi, I'm Gayatri Gogineni. I'll be sharing few topics based on the experience that I have gained over the years. Today, I'm here to discuss asset management with you guys. So, let's see what asset management is. So, the agenda for today is to cover all these topics. So, let's see what the topics are. So basically, asset management itself says that it is related to assets. So we need to know what assets are and what is asset management. So we'll be covering the benefits once the asset management has been implemented and the strategic plan that an organization needs to plan to implement asset management into the organization and the benefits of the strategic plan to implement asset management. And we'll be looking at asset management ecosystem, work management tools, CMMS, computerized maintenance management system, GIS, geographical information system, APM, asset performance management, and what can be achieved by implementing asset management. So we are going to look at all these today. So what are assets? So asset is nothing but a thing or an entity which has a value to it and which adds value to the organization. So let's see. Yeah. Asset is nothing but an item, thing, or an entity that has a potential value which adds to the organization. Asset management is nothing but a system which helps the organization to have an overview of all the assets which are there in the organization. Okay, now we are looking at the types of the assets which has been classified into tangible and intangible. Tangible is nothing but assets which have a physical value to it, whereas intangible has value as well, but it is going to be an indirect one. As you could see in the figure, tangible says that it is some. I did give some examples like tangible could be equipment, machinery, and computer IT, etc., which has a physical or a monetary value to it. But intangible, suppose if the organization is ready to sell a particular part of the sector, like any industry like oil and gas or transportation or anything, and it has some products which has patents to it or any kind of trademarks, and if they are quoting a certain value to that particular wing to sell off, then it includes patents and trademarks as well. So it has an indirect value to the organization, but it is not a physical value. It is not a monetary or a physical value involved in it. This is the difference between tangible and intangible. So as you could see, tangible has the equipment, machinery, and computer and IT, and intangible is more of patents, government grants, and trademarks. So now we are going with the global asset management or for the overall organization. If the organization is global infrastructure, how the asset management can be implemented in the overall infrastructure. Um, it could be divided into different parts. Computer and IT would be. I'll give the details further, but it could be sectored into IT, business, sales, and then if at all if the organization has retail to it, even that could be included. Computer and IT would be common for all the divisions the enterprise will be having globally. Business, while coming to the business, asset management helps to track the profits of all the branches and the subsidiaries in each country. Uh, then the organization has been placed in, or the subsidiaries or anything. It helps to derive the profits involved in it. While coming to the sales, if at all asset management has been implemented, it would track the sales as well. Suppose if a product is doing well in this particular country and in that particular location, then then the organization can take more steps to increase the sales in other sections based on the areas. And if at all if the sales are not good, they could take a decision whether the product can be stopped, means like the products can be considered uh, not doing well in that particular country, so they could go ahead with the decision. So asset management helps in that. While coming to retail, again it is the same. If the product is doing good in particular sector, then the decision making would be more easy. So it helps in retail sector as well. Asset industries, suppose if we classify the industries into different sectors: construction, transportation, manufacturing, agricultural, oil and gas, healthcare. These are all the divisions that I took. All these would have the common things which are which has the equipment, machinery, and then the equipment which is related to construction, or it could be any other thing: trailers, containers, and chases. Everything is involved, and IT would all. If all the sectors would need computer and IT, and the financial tracking uh, that needs to be done via tools. So all these sectors, construction sector, agriculture, any kind of industry needs all these. So the asset industry can be classified into different sectors, and it depends on what client requires. He might require the asset management to be in one industry, and rest all can be normal. So it depends on how the client needs. Even the classification depends on that. They might ask for only one, or they might ask for multiple. So basically, what is asset management? We'll look into that. It is nothing but managing all the assets across a business, which are tangible or intangible. It gives us overall picture of all assets at a single point, and it helps to manage business with its applications and uh, different aspects of asset management. It helps the business of the assets possible, and at the same time it has a centralized dashboard which helps the data collection of all the assets involved in the organization, and it helps to analyze data and create the asset life cycle and monitor all assets. It helps the businesses to analyze data and build the asset life cycle. Every asset has a life cycle. Suppose if the asset has a maintenance and an expiry period, it gives us the data of that particular asset clearly through this asset management system, and efficiently we can monitor the asset as well via GIS. So asset management helps the organization in keeping track of all the assets and monitoring them, which gives the organization great benefit out of it. So global asset, once if you implement global asset management, it helps the organization to keep the financial management in place, and it can give an idea of the all the sectors that the organization has. Suppose it has branches and subsidiaries in different countries, and how the businesses are in different areas. Asset management can be a single centralized system which helps the business to take effective decision making, and helps the organization uh, to keep the business in compliance according to the rules and regulations, and maintenance management can also be achieved. Let's see what the benefits of asset management are. It gives the organization to account all the assets as we discussed before. It helps to manage and identify the risks involved, and it helps to remove the ghost assets involved in the company's inventory. Suppose like if there is any asset which is obsoleted, means it has been installed but the maintenance has been done, but the condition of that particular asset is not good, then it should be obsoleted, or the expiry period uh, uh, of an asset has been uh, uh, delayed, or so it will be considered as a ghost asset and it has to be replaced. So it will this asset management gives you a track of all the ghost assets in the company, and it gives us complaints as well, whether we are following the rules and regulations, and if all the processes are in compliance or not. At the same time, it gives us an idea of acquisition as well, and the usage of the assets as well, where they are being placed and where they are being installed, and whether we should acquire an asset, whether we should acquire an asset, and all the details could be derived when we apply asset management to our enterprise. Let's see what are the more benefits involved when we implement asset management. It gives us an in-depth analysis of assets, which gives more efficiency to the whole process, and real-time data collection can be done. Asset tracking can be done using GIS, and it could be cloud based. So these are the benefits, and other than that, we could see the performance as well of the assets that we are going to use. Asset performance management helps in that. Other than that, we could derive the total costs of all the assets that are being used in the whole organization, and then how they are operating, and what is the maintenance period of each asset, that could also be derived. So by implementing asset management, the benefits of asset management involves global asset management as well, where the centralized global asset management can be achieved. Even achieving global asset management is a benefit. What is the strategic plan to implement AM in the organization? Uh, so basically, we need to plan and then execute and then check whether the assets are performing properly, and then action. So this is the whole process, and the baseline of the strategic plan is nothing but creating an asset inventory. What are all the assets involved in the whole process, and then the asset life cycle, which derives the whole costs involved in it. Each asset has a life cycle to it, so even that should be derived. And other than that, the roles involved in this whole process. Suppose if the assets are being classified into different sections, like electrical, mm, electronics, and then safety and everything. So the roles need to be divided, and the responsibility for each asset should be allotted to that particular individual. That gives us the whole picture of which person is responsible for this particular asset. The roles need to be derived and designated according to the whole plan, and the tools involved to implement this asset management all needs to be planned ahead. So uh, the baseline of strategic plan involves the catalog of all the assets. What are the total assets involved, count of it, and the where the uh, um, assets are going to be installed, the location, and what is the value of that particular asset, and what is the date of asset acquired. So the life cycle is nothing but acquiring, means like purchasing a uh, uh, particular asset, and then commissioning and being installing, meaning installing, and then operate, how checking how is it working, and then once if it is the maintenance period or the particular life cycle of that asset has been done, then obviously it needs to be disposed. So asset life cycle involves acquiring, commissioning, and operate and dispose. So acquiring, while coming to acquiring, it involves all the procurement and vendor management. It comes into the picture while coming to acquiring. Commissioning involves, as you know, all the assets need to be tagged, and that is how the database would be able to track that particular asset. All needs a barcode or a tag, so the classification would be more easy, and the documentation all needs to be placed in the documentation registry, or to the database, where the clear tracking could be provided. Commissioning involves all this, because once the commissioning is done, you need to uh, give a document, where it could be digital, or a Excel or anything, which could be loaded directly into the database. So that is how we did it. Yeah, operation is nothing but maintenance, and how the whole whole asset is performing. So that could be involved in planning and uh, and the life cycle all comes into the picture while coming to the operation. And disposal is nothing but condition asset modification or planning and upgradation. If it needs to be upgraded, then obviously the existing asset would be disposed, and replacement cost analysis need to come into picture. So disposal documentation has also it also needs to be properly documented. So once we purchase something, then it would be a part, and once it moves from us to the location where it needs to be installed, then it is considered as an asset. Suppose if you are taking a card, and then that needs to be installed in a rack, so this card, the cables and all the parts would be considered as child, and the parent would be the rack. So these all child parts need to be assembled to the card, and then need to be placed in the rack. So that would be once it is installed, it is considered as an asset. So next we'll be looking at the strategic plan, roles and tools. So we need to before implementing asset management itself, we need to derive all the roles and responsibilities and the tools involved in it. So determine who is responsible for that particular asset, and we need to uh, discuss and finalize on what software you are going to use to enable the asset management system, and then finalizing on the data architecture, all the data that is related to asset management, which data needs to be placed where. That helps the whole thing. And finalizing asset management system architecture. So once the data architecture is finalized, it totally helps the asset management system architecture as well. System architecture can be an overall picture where each data can be classified. The data architecture helps the system architecture to place the particular data in that divided sections of each system architecture. So system architecture decides which data need to be placed where, and data architecture helps for the data flow and into that particular uh, system architecture. So data flow into asset management system would be the final um, implementation part. So how the hardware can be implemented in the asset management is through, as I said before, it is going to be using barcodes and ID tags. uh, you need to track them as they come into the company, and the customized reports to the client needs to be finalized. Even the reports needs to be discussed with the client how they require them. If at all, if you are working for another client and you have the asset management tool with you, then you need to talk to the client how the reports needs to be presented to them, so that that report itself needs to be matched with the data architecture and system architecture. So once you derive that particular report, that should be feasible enough for the client to view the whole data of the assets right away. So they need to give us all the information how the data to be transferred into the database, basically. That helps the customized reports as well. So once you click the reports, suppose if you need to look at a particular look at all the assets that are located in that particular location, then if you give the location name itself, all the id tags that are related to that particular area, we need to create a we will be able to generate that report. If they are not giving that location to us, or if we are not entering that location, obviously the data would be missed. So what are the benefits? Just now, as I discussed, planning is the key. So what are the benefits if we have a strategic plan? So it gives us an improved efficiency, and rules and regulations will be followed and ensures compliance, and maintenance will be in place, and reduces all the losses involved, and customer satisfaction would be derived because they are the people who will be giving us all the inputs. So what is the asset management ecosystem and how does it look? Let's see. So typical asset management ecosystem components involve financial systems, geographical information system, work management, and asset performance management and project management tools. So financial systems are basically, most of them use SAP or Oracle. Work management system and EAM, as you see, an enterprise asset management system. It is not. We'll go in detail about CMMS and SAP, IBM Maximo, and ABB Ellipse. These are the ones most people are using. And GIS is more of Argus and GTech. Project management is more of SAP and Oracle Primavera. And ABM is asset performance management is more of Meridium, DMM, and Infonet. So these are all the example applications which I am giving. So there might be more tools, but this is what I have in. So we'll go in detail about computerized maintenance management system. It is more of maintenance management system, kind of meaning work order management system. CMMS, it is nothing but a centralized maintenance information system. CMMS is more used in the manufacturing, oil, gas, and power generation, transportation, and other industries. I did mention all these industries before. So most of these industries use CMMS system, and it is more. It's more. Core is database, and the data model helps the organization and the equipment and the resources, everything to be maintained, and it helps the data model helps the whole maintenance management system to be in line with the organization. So, what is the functionality? Labor resource and labor management, asset registry, work order management can be done via CMMS. Maintenance can be achieved, and inventory management and materials can be done. Other than that, reporting, analysis, and auditing, it helps for auditing as well. So this is the structure. This it has its own work structure, work management alignment. If you see, so everything is interlinked. I'm not going in detail with the whole thing, but real time system, project management, asset management, back office, supply chain, work management. I'm not able to view properly here, but I hope you could see that. Pro- Means like it is visible to you. So work scheduling, everything is interlinked. I'm not going in detail. As you could see, maintenance management system, it is more of work order system, and it is linked with project management, real time asset management, supply chain, everything, back office, everything is interlinked in it. So once you implement computerized maintenance management system, what are the benefits we achieve? As asset visibility, where the particular asset has been installed can be identified. Workflow visibility, automation, the whole process can be automated, and streamlined process can be a benefit. And then workforce in the field can be managed properly, and then the maintenance can be achieved. Knowledge transfer can be achieved, and then the compliance management, because everything is in place, like rules and regulations can be followed, and it is according to the compliance. Health, safety, and environment also. So what are the work management tools? It is Maximo, and then the ClearQuest. Maximo, the key features of Maximo would be leveraging market leading EM, and then the enhancement of the reliability by providing AI powered monitoring, inspection, and predictive maintenance can be achieved. That would be a key feature. And then the multi cloud deployment is creates and gives us a great flexibility. So ClearQuest is the one which I worked on. It helps us to processes, and then full life cycle traceability, automation, and most up to date information can be achieved of the assets. And to clear, it gives us a clear insight of the whole process. Suppose if you require an information of what are all the assets that has been obsoleted, we could achieve what are all the assets that are in a particular location that could be achieved. What are all the uh, assets that has been installed on a particular date that can also be achieved. Everything can be traceable. Everything is traceable, and the location of the asset can also be achieved. And it is more of change configuration and workflow management. So we'll look at GIS now, Geographical Information System. It gives us data visualization. Um, you could see what are all assets located at particular location, and that could be 2D, 3D, and 4D. All the data maintenance can be achieved in 2D, 3D, or 4D. It gives us access to the workers through different systems. Like um, if the guy is in the maintenance location, like in the field, if at all if he wants to uh, update an information that the particular asset has been maintained or installed or anything, it could he could just um, uh, give us an information online, or the document can be signed and uploaded into the database directly. So um, Argis gives us that possibility of for the user from the field also. So that uh, so you could see the real time data. That's what integrate data from multiple sources. That's what it helps, and transform data into maps and actionable information. So this data can be transformed into maps. So, what are the benefits of asset tracking? It gives us the asset location, and then the monitoring can be achieved, and it totally helps with the audit trails. Like, suppose if there is an audit and they want to see whether the assets are installed in that particular location or not, and in real time, they could right away look into the database or whatever tool they are using. They can just get the audit trails. Obviously, they'll. It would be a great asset to the organization to get the audit done in time, and uh, more with more ease, like real time data. It totally helps us with that, helps the organization with that. Tracking work in progress also. So suppose if there is a work that is in process in the field, you could just get the information right away, because everything is real time. They could give the information as and when the asset is installed. They can load the data right away. So now we are going to look at asset performance management. So I just took an example of Meridian, which is a GE product, I think. So it helps to monitor and then optimize the productivity, and then risk management of the risk, and then the predictive maintenance of the assets, and then overall costs can be uh, tracked, and management of the cost can be done, which helps to lower the costs as well. And then the faster time to value can be achieved using performance management. What can we achieve by implementing AM? What can we achieve by asset management implementation? Let's see. Obviously, this the customer complaints would be reduced because of this more streamlined processes, and then audits would be in place, and real-time data can be achieved using GIS, and asset performance can be improved. So the customer complaints would reduce automatically, and then customer value would increase. With in turn increases the customer value, and then the equipment utilization also. Suppose if a particular um, asset can be used somewhere else, we can just replace them. So the acquisition of that particular asset can also be reduced, and then improves the efficiency. Budgeting and decision making can also be achieved with the asset management. Rules and regulations are obviously followed, so which in turn gives us complaints to the organization, ensures complaints to the organization. Equipment maintenance can be achieved using CEMMS, and then reduce loss to the organization. So these are all the items that we could achieve by implementing asset management to the overall enterprise. So Thank you. I had a great time sharing my knowledge with you, and I'll be back soon with a couple of presentations which are related to PTC, which is posture train control, and some few other systems. Other than that, I'll be talking about interlocking and then client relationship management. So these are the topics which you will be seeing soon. Other than that, I'm looking at different other topics that are related to my interests. I'll be sharing that with you as well. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great time. Thank you. Bye.